Welcome, everyone, to the Predictive Playbook. This is the Monday, December 27th, 2021 edition of the NBA Triple Double Show, powered by the Predictive Playbook and presented by SportsMemo TV. I am your host, and I am more than covered for this Monday NBA card with my co-host, Ronald Cabang, who is tops right now on the NBA leaderboard at SportsMemo and was the best all of last season. Ronald, welcome to the show. I'm happy to tell you that coming off a sweep. Now, we can say that that one play on the total with the Celtics, we could count that as a push. When we gave it on the show, it would have been a winner for, I believe, 2.5 points, but the line moved a lot. So we may go back and rethink that just to be like 200% transparent. But if we count that as a win when we gave it on the show, we're 23-6 against the number for 79.3%. What do you think of those apples?
That's our last 9 shows, right? Is that
yes?
Right? Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I love being able to provide winners.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And as a result, we're getting more and more subscribers and followers. And while I'm thinking of it, make sure you do hit the subscribe button and ring that bell, because anytime we release a video on the SportsMemo TV platform, you'll be notified immediately. And especially for the live ones that'll be coming up in 2022, you want to be sure you don't miss any of those. So, Ronald, let's get right back to this card for the Monday game. It's exciting as hell. I'm not going to say exciting as heck. You're 23-6. I think you and I should be a little bit proud of ourselves. You know, we're probably not going to be 46-12. It's unusual that replicates, but we were just talking about some of those guys in the circa millions in the NFL are hitting over 70%, and nobody has ever done that. Mm-hmm. But that's a different show. Let's focus on the NBA, and our first game here is going to be the Chicago Bulls are playing at the Atlanta Hawks. And this game is taking place at State Farm Arena, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Bulls are off to a 20-10 start, and I must say, Ronald, that was a futures bet that we both put out on the show, and we did individually, and we need about 22 more wins, and I think we're in pretty good shape right now. Bulls are 19-11 against the spread. Hawks are, they've been hammered by the COVID injuries and a bunch of other stuff, extraneous situations that just make it hard to put any chemistry into a lineup. But they're 15-17, surprisingly under 500, 10th in the Eastern Conference. Over-under 15-17. The over-under in the Bulls is 14-16. Where do you think the best bet is in this matchup?
Yeah, for this game, I'm looking at the total here. The Bulls, they'll be playing their second game of back-to-back games. They beat the Pacers at home yesterday, and they're going to be playing in Atlanta today. They're getting healthier too. Levine is back in the lineup, but they're still going to be without Lonzo Ball and Alex Caruso. Their offensive rating actually dips more than their defensive rating goes up without these guys in the lineup, which is interesting. So that kind of balances out when those guys are out of the lineup. The Hawks, they've lost 7 straight and failed to cover in 8 straight at home. They've also been without Trae Young in the lineup in their last 3 games. And in those 3 games, they failed to reach 100 points. Their offensive rating with Trae Young this season is 114.9. Without him, it's 103.5. And so you can kind of see there's a huge difference, with him and without him. I feel like there's just too many pieces missing on the Hawks side tonight. Trae Young isn't the only guy sidelined. There's John Collins, Kevin Huerter, Gallinari, Lou Williams, and a few other guys as well. I just think that the Hawks once again failed to reach the century mark here, and the game stays under the total.
Yeah, I like that. I like that take. I think it will be a grind, and I think Atlanta's going to struggle to score points. Supporting the Bulls, I have just a lean here initially on this game. The Bulls are 31-12 when playing against a team with a losing record, whether home or away, the last 2 seasons. Atlanta's just 2-12 when playing against a team with a winning record this season, and they're 3-14 facing good defensive teams that are allowing less than 108 points per game, which is the league average this season. So that's my lean on that game, and I like the under quite a bit. I have 2 things to mention here. Chicago 31-18 under when facing solid three-point shooting teams, which despite the Hawks' problems, they're making more than 36.5% of their attempts. And this is games played over the last 3 seasons. And Chicago's 22-10 to the under, facing teams that don't generate a lot of turnovers, and they only force an average of less than 13 turnovers per game, which the Hawks do in games played over the last 2 seasons. So I like both Chicago and definitely the under with this matchup. Let's move on to the next game, which is the Mavs versus Blazers. And, I was quite impressed. I had the Mavs as a 4%er on Christmas Day, 13.5 points. I had to grab the points. I realized that I could have got blown out. But Dallas has a bench that is stepping in when Doncic is out, and they're learning how to adjust when he is not in the lineup, which I think is great because think about it, Ronald. He's not in the game for 48 minutes. So when the second unit now comes in, when he comes back, which he won't for this game tonight, he's been ruled out already, that the Mavs are going to be a team on the rise, I think, once everything settles out and this COVID thing starts to wane in the weeks ahead. And Porzingis has been nursing an injury, but he scored 27 points. We're talking about stepping up in that win on Saturday on Christmas Day, and he went 8 for 18 from the field. But the Mavericks lost by 4, but they were extraordinarily competitive as a 13.5-point dog. So now the Mavs are playing the Blazers. Where do you think the opportunity lies in this matchup?
Yeah, once again, I'm going to the total on this one. The Mavs, they're playing their second game of their 5-game road trip. They lost to the Jazz, like you mentioned, a couple of days ago in a game that saw 72 combined free throw attempts, where the league average is around 41 per game. So I think we're not going to see that many free throw attempts tonight. And on the offensive rating side, they're actually slightly lower in offensive rating, slightly better in defensive rating, and slightly slower in pace without Luka Doncic in the lineup. And like you mentioned, he's out for this game again. They're also going to be without a few other key guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Maxi Kleber. The Blazers, they're going to be well rested. They haven't played since the 21st, where their game against there was a game against the Nets that was supposed to be played before this, but that got postponed due to COVID. Both teams, they're pretty much missing a few key players. On the Blazers side, McCollum is one of the guys that they're missing, and their offensive rating dips about 6 points without him in the lineup. So I think a combination of the key offensive players missing from both teams and the fact that both teams are in the bottom 10 in the league in pace, I think those pieces will keep this game under the total.
I'm with you again. This has worked. This is how we've gotten to 23-6. So, there's a lot of COVID issues, and I was on Teddy Cover's show on Thursday, which aired over the weekend on Sirius XM 204. I love being on that show. It's nice to be a guest once in a while instead of being the host. There's less to do. But he asked me a question. I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but he asked me specifically, how has my handicapping been adjusting with the COVID? And I mentioned simply that I'm assuming, like I do with Wall Street, that the current price that I'm looking at has everything baked into that number. And I think the same thing with this game. Like we're at Pick'em. I have an initial lean to Dallas. I love the under in this game, by the way. Has COVID changed anything in the way you look at a breakup or a breakdown of a game?
Yeah, because, some of these trends and metrics that we look at, they kind of go out the window when all the key players are missing. So this comes to the fact that we just kind of if you understand the game, how it's played, and, how players are able to come in, if you know some of the players that are coming in and how they can affect the game, that really gives you an advantage over some of the other folks, especially like the books. Sometimes, obviously they're really good at what they do. They have the numbers calculated and all that stuff. But when there's dramatic change like the ones we're seeing here with COVID, sometimes it almost seems like you have the advantage if you kind of understand the game in a different way versus just looking at numbers.
Yeah, I agree. So you're kind of mentioning what I call and a lot of people call it the eye test. You see how they play and how these guys have played in the past in certain situations, and it's a tremendous asset right now, given what we're going through, no doubt. Good stuff, Ron. Let's move on to our last game. And in this game, we have quite a matchup. The Brooklyn Nets going up against the LA Clippers. The Brooklyn Nets... they're 22-9, but I kind of feel like they could be like 25-6. There are a lot of games they could have won, but didn't. I wasn't surprised that they beat the Lakers. They were up by, I guess, 18 in the first half. I mean, the Lakers are a mess. Aside from this game, Ronald, I think you would agree. You do not put your money behind the Lakers expecting a bounce. Even though they're playing who they are playing tonight, I just say stay away. But in this game, the Brooklyn Nets are now playing the second straight game at the Staples Arena. Or I'm sorry, it's called the Crypto.com Arena now. I apologize. Interesting. So anyway, 10:30 start tonight. Clippers are 17-16, one game over the 500, 15-18 against the spread. They've been an under team, 20-13 on the season. Take it away and tell me where the best bet is in this matchup.
Yep, and I don't know if this is my first time picking three totals in a single show, but I'm going with the total again here. You mentioned the Clippers, they just beat the Lakers outright in LA. Sorry, the Nets beat the Lakers outright in LA on Christmas Day. Harden was back in the lineup, and they looked pretty solid, obviously against a banged-up Lakers squad. Their offensive rating increases slightly when Harden plays versus when he's out. And, like the Lakers, the Clippers are also a little banged up. They're missing Paul George and Reggie Jackson. I think the big thing here is the lack of defense. Without George in the lineup, their defensive rating goes from 104.6 to 113. Surprisingly, in a 7-game sample size this season, their offensive rating actually slightly goes up without George. So that's a surprise to me. But I think on the side here, I can't totally trust the sides either way. With both teams missing key players, that might change down the line today, just off of different information that we get. But I think this total, I think they go over the total in this game.
And I'm with you. I wish we could have like a little banter back and forth, not an argument, because you and I would never argue about something. It'd be fun to debate one of these days, but we're on a roll. So when we're in agreement and we're aligned, I feel pretty darn good about all three of these.
Yeah, for sure.
And I see this matchup the same way as you do. Brooklyn is a team that is so interesting. What would happen if Kyrie actually came back? And last year I ran a study, and I know you're aware of it, that actually without Kyrie in the lineup, in other words, if you take the three studs and when two of them are playing together and then, the round robin type of thing, the worst combination was when Kyrie was in playing with Harden or playing with KD. The best combination was KD and Harden. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. They're kicking butt now, and they're not even playing anywhere close to their potential, in my opinion. And probably the only team from the Eastern Conference that can match up and give Phoenix or Golden State any competition. But let's move on to our best bets for the show, and I think it's probably going to be easy to recap it. But I'll let you I'll let you recap all three.
Yeah. So I think what it sounds like, we're going to go with all three totals here as our best bets. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. I really like them. I really like the totals in these games. I think right now maybe there was a slight run on the overs recently, but we do have two under totals as our best bets today. So I think we're in good position to hopefully go 3-0 again.
Oh, I agree. And then, like I always say, a little hedge, because I don't like hyping things at all. Neither do you. I think that's one of the reasons why we're producing the records we do. But we're at that point where 2-1. I'm going to be happy as 3-0 again. We'll take it. It's like nobody has ever taken a 3-foot putt that went around the hole twice before it went in. Or a chip shot out of the rough.
Yeah.
That somehow was a miracle and went in. Nobody's ever said, "Oh no, give me an extra shot." But we'll take the 3-0 any day of the week.
Yeah, even the 2-1, as long as you profit, that's all that matters. You don't always have to sweep.
Yep. And in that Mavs game, I'll just add this: that as a lean, I like the under first half as well. So for people that are listening to this, I'm just giving you another option. I think both are, in my opinion, at least, Ronald, are equally good bets. But for the show purposes, our best bet is the under full game of the Mavs. So that'll do it for this edition, Monday, December 27th, 2021. Thanks for watching, and take a moment to subscribe, like, and comment below. We'll be sure to respond to them and provide updates during the day as it relates to these players entering or exiting the COVID-19 health and safety protocols. Have yourself a great week in sports betting markets, starting with our 3-pack that we just gave you. So we'll be back here again on Wednesday for another edition of the NBA Triple Double Show on SportsMemo TV. So until then, bet with your head and not over it, and may all the wins be yours.